My name's Tom Lorentzen, and I actually first did things for Reagan in 1964 and 65, so I was there during the period of time before he decided to run for governor. And then later I came in and served in the re-election campaign in '84, served in his second term, and then I became senior consultant here at the Reagan Foundation in 1998. I first met Reagan in February of 1965. He and I had corresponded, and I'd written to him on the first anniversary of the Kennedy assassination, November 22nd, 1964. We'd gotten into Vietnam during that summer, and we had gone through the Cuban Missile Crisis 2 years earlier. And I thought, we need to find somebody that can try and get us out of this dangerous period of time. I made a list of names, Democrat and Republican. I added Reagan as an afterthought. So I wrote to him on the first anniversary of the Kennedy assassination to encourage him to think about running for governor, senator, and even the presidency. He wrote back to me, and then I was invited to meet with him in February '65. I'm a 19-year-old kid. That very first glimpse with him, spent 15 minutes with him and Nancy at the old Jack Tar Hotel in San Francisco. It's long gone now. What I felt that night in the 15 minutes I had with him was I saw a man of peace. And, you know, people were talking as he eventually ran for office that he was conservative, a warmonger, and all that. I knew it was all wrong. I never changed that vision of Reagan. I saw a man of peace. He was very concerned, I think he got a lot of this from his mom, about a fear of Armageddon at the end of the road. And she was a deeply religious person. Reagan was personally, but not publicly. And this fear of the momentum of the 20th century leading ultimately towards the worst evil that the world could ever face, which would be a Third World War and a nuclear war. Reagan became the individual following, with Pope John Paul taking the lead, to, beyond anybody's wildest estimate, to ever think the Cold War would end, number one. Number two, it would end peacefully. And number three, the Soviet Union would disappear. It's one of the greatest achievements of the 20th century in political history. And Reagan was absolutely pivotal to this. And his sense of that whole flow of history, and he had the unique personal characteristics to lead us in that direction. And I think once the Cold War came to an end, I think Reagan was just very pleasantly surprised and probably said to Nancy, "Wow, Nancy, it all worked." And he sought no credit, no recognition. The main thing was the Cold War ended. And I think that's the most important part of Reagan's legacy. It was then from that point, you had the greatest breakout of peace and freedom in the history of the world, the greatest expansion of freedom by most every standard in the world. Never seen such expansion. At the end of his administration, when he came back from the fourth summit with Gorbachev in Moscow, I was invited out there, Andrews Air Force Base, to be there. And I broke down and cried because that original glimpse of a man of peace. My feeling was he was a man of real destiny, like FDR, and he was brought a gift to this country, and he did lead the way, along with Pope John Paul, to find a way out of the worst killing in human history, the 20th century, and World War I, World War II, the mass movements, the Cold War, etc. And so that first impression in 1965 was he was a man of peace, never changed on that, and I think he was.